5, 6, 7, 8. It's a message. Oh, it's a message. Oh, it's a message. Oh, it's a message. Oh,
we invite you to join us as we have a therapeutic conversation for queer women of color when they find that the life script is not enough.
I mean, it's going to be every other week. We're going to bring our real, authentic take on life, liberty, and finding happiness. I mean, it's a message, but it's okay.
And if you vibe, we tribe.
Oh, it's a message. Oh, it's a message. Oh, it's a message. Oh, it's a message. Oh. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to the podcast. This is episode 5, and this episode is going to be about self-love. Rena, let the people know why we chose self-love.
With Valentine's Day right around the corner, many may be questioning if they are loved. Some may feel loved. Some may desperately be looking for love. Some may be actively avoiding it. Some may feel shame and guilt because they feel that they don't have someone to love them. It always seems like the love people want, need, and require is outside of themselves. I mean, Valentine's Day for many is a good day. If you are in a relationship with someone and you get flowers at work, dinner at a fancy restaurant, or just get some, period. People have broken up over poor Valentine's Day plans. Self-esteem has been crushed when you didn't receive that dollar store carnation in 10th grade from a secret admirer. So you vowed to never get caught out there looking crazy again. So you make sure you buy your own damn carnations junior year.
Right.
That's not a personal story at all. But maybe that is the key. Mm-hmm. You know, just buy your own carnations, but not to show your classmates or coworkers that you are loved by someone else, or that someone else has given you worth by adorning you with processed sugar treats, but because you want carnations because they make you feel good about you, a show of love from self to self. So that brought us to thinking about what self-love is, how it impacts your life, and how does one cope, address, deal with having or lacking self-love in their lives.
That's real shit. And I think this is such an important topic. What with Valentine's Day, what with just life in general, self-love is where it's at. So let's define self-love. What is self-love for you, Rena?
Oh, gosh, for me, self-love is love. It is the ultimate boss level form of love. Mm-hmm. Without self-love, no other love can exist for me. Mm-hmm. I feel that we are mirrors of each other. And in order to receive, accept, feel love from others, we have to be able to acknowledge it and know it for and from ourselves.
Right.
I used to think self-love was about indulging in everything I wanted. Mm-hmm. But now I realize it's so much deeper. You know, it's self-love is saying yes to yourself, which may mean saying no to other things. Mm-hmm. You know, it's essentially parenting yourself.
That's so funny. Because I had that same thought. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I mean, I think because I'm trying to self-love for me is something that I realize that I need to propel me forward in life towards the life that I desire.
Yeah.
So it's a very motivating thing. And, you know, when you think about your life and not having the life you want, you usually go back to your parents and be like, oh, it's because my parents weren't shit. They didn't have money. They weren't successful. They didn't teach me these things and da 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 da.
Right.
But maybe that wasn't their job. Mm-hmm. You know, maybe it's by design that your parents couldn't give you everything you needed to self-actualize. Mm-hmm. And maybe they're just supposed to model for you what parenting looks like. And then when you turn 18 and you go out there on your own, they're kind of turning those reins over to you.
Right.
But we never take those damn reins.
No, we don't.
Right. So, so yeah, it's parenting yourself. You know, it's saying, you know, I want ice cream, but I'm lactose intolerant. So I need to figure out how to do this in a way that won't damage my body, or just saying no to it completely.
Right. That's my life right now. I'm like, I want it, but I can't have it. Mm-hmm.
It's absolutely my life right now. Like I'm definitely using my old definition of self-love right now and indulging in everything I want.
I got you.
And, you know, love is sometimes saying no, fuck no, you can't have that. God damn it, you know?
Yeah.
Self-love is also like just thinking for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's prioritizing your emotional, mental, physical, spiritual, and social well-being. Um, and it is ultimately an internal appreciation and love of being oneself.
Yeah.
So what about you? What's
Okay.
self-love for you?
Yeah. So when I thought about this topic, I broke it down into the two words that comprise self-love. So for
Okay.
me, what is self? So to me,
Okay.
self is all encompassing. It's your mind, your body, and your spirit. That is yourself. And then what is love? Love to me is the willingness to continue on, to show up. It's the dedication to improving a situation no matter how dire. It's to build up and encourage. Love is everything and everything is love. And so when I think about self-love, of course we put them together. I think self love is the willingness to show up and encourage, to continually dedicate time and attention to your mind, your body, and your spirit, no matter how dire the situation. It is to speak to yourself softly and also to offer yourself constructive criticism when necessary. And that's the same thing like you were saying with parenting. When I think of self love, I think of how my mother loved me. And my mother loved me in all the good ways. She loved me by encouraging me. But if something was not right, she corrected me in a way that was beneficial to me so that I could learn and grow. She didn't just let it stagnate. She didn't let it let me feel like something was right if it wasn't right. She didn't let things fester. So I had a really wide range of what love looked like. And that's to me how you should love yourself. You should give yourself the encouragement. You should praise yourself. But also, when you're not doing something right, you should say, that ain't right. Let me correct that. You know what I mean? In the softest of ways, and giving yourself time and understanding and patience. And that's what my definition of self-love is.
Wow. I'm just letting that sink in because the way you describe love, it sounds unconditional.
It is.
No matter how dire, to me that says unconditional.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like what was modeled for you was unconditional love.
Yes.
And, because we say that, you say like our parents are the only people who love us unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you become your own parent, you're supposed to love yourself unconditionally.
Exactly.
And that doesn't mean, like ignoring your faults.
Right.
It means the opposite, acknowledging it and saying, okay, we need to work on this.
Yes. Exactly.
So,
Exactly. I mean, it's just, when you break it down, I think I'm always the one to
right.
like, the Virgo in me wants to get to the nitty grit. You know what I mean? Let me get the tiny pieces so that I can bring them back together and now we got the full
Right.
picture. And so the nitty gritty and the breakdown is in order to love, yourself, you have to know what the self is. The self isn't
Right.
just the physical. The self isn't
Mhm.
just the mind. The self isn't just the body. It's all of those things. And in order to have self love, you need to work on all of those things equally, I feel.
Wow. So the thought that comes into my mind is that like love is like the energy, right? Because you say everything
Yes.
is love.
Right.
And you use your mind and your body and spirit to like push that energy outwards, to circulate that energy.
Agreed.
So it's the vessel.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. What do you think
So
the
yeah.
impact of self love is? What do you think the impact of this topic is?
Who, like on my life,
Yeah.
um, I feel like I came into the self-love game like pretty late.
Okay.
I was definitely a late bloomer, just in that regard.
Hmm.
Um, I felt like I was definitely conditioned to and actively sought external approval.
Okay.
I thought that's what love was. Like, people like you make people happy, and then they love you.
Yeah.
So that led me to chase after people, cling to people, try to please people with no thought on whether I liked them,
Mm.
and never asking anything from them either.
Wow.
I was like, I'm just gonna give to you, and I'm gonna be this great friend or this great family member or this great daughter, this great person to you, and you don't have to do anything. You just keep worrying about you, and I'll worry about you.
Wow.
But the more, right, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but what I realized just kind of in reflecting on that and now kind of defining self love for myself, I realized the more I chased after people, the more I felt unloved,
Yeah.
unseen, unheard. I was making myself disappear essentially, which
Wow.
was the opposite of what I wanted. I thought I needed people to be.
Right.
I didn't. I don't think I didn't understand that I just was like I am, like
Yeah.
I'm worthy just because, you know, I am,
Right.
I'm here.
Right.
I always thought like if people like me, then that meant I existed and that I
Mhm.
was somebody. Like I always wanted to be somebody to somebody. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm the person that everybody comes to and dumps all their trauma on and then goes live and lives their life. And then I'm horrified,
Yeah.
when I see them going out there doing the opposite of what we discussed.
Mhm.
I'm like, so I'm over here just like baggage holding,
Right.
I'm like, check luggage or some shit. Like I'll just hold on
Right.
to your shit while you go out there, travel, live your life, have all this fun. Um, but I never even considered that who I was trying to get them to like wasn't even me because I didn't
Wow.
know myself.
Yeah.
So I was just this blank person, this person who was just like a lackey essentially. Like I'll just do whatever you need me to do. So I was
Yeah.
like this blank person, and I could just become whatever you needed me to be.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's not like a real person.
No, it's not.
So I was like, I completely ignored myself internally,
Mhm.
except for when I was forced to retreat.
Yeah.
So when I did retreat inside, like it was so like unmaintained and neglected that it became a hateful place of
Yeah.
negative self-talk and self-abuse. So then I would run away from that, run
Of
out of my
course.
head,
Of
and
course.
then the cycle would repeat.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
running away from myself towards other people. And I mean, it's I'm using self-love right now by just analyzing that and just saying it how it is.
Yeah.
And acknowledging that about myself. I'm aware of it. I acknowledge it. And I don't blame those people because that wasn't their responsibility.
Right.
So now, and I've accepted it. And now I realize, okay, I have to do something about it. I have to like go and maintain my shit.
Right.
I have to go and clear that out and clear out that negative energy and realize that like I can't get unconditional love like from like other people. It's my job to give me that.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
what has been the impact in your life?
Um, I think this is for me the impact is obvious. I think it's self-love is the greatest tool that we have or the greatest weapon against us. Like with a healthy
Wow.
sense of self-love, life feels achievable. All your hardest problems solvable. Your worst headaches healable. Like when you get to the
Okay.
place where self-love has like waned and it's low, you start to feel or start to see folks letting even the smallest obstacles block them like it were there like it was huge mountains. You see people allowing things that they might have never allowed with regards to
Yeah.
love and work and really all aspects of life. Like everything is just too much when you don't have self-love, and you can see it. It's like a very tangible thing that you can like see and hold on to if you pay attention. And I think for myself, um, this was a really interesting topic because I think most days I feel like I have a healthy amount of self-love. But
Oh, good for you.
thank you. On some occasions, though, and many more now than before, I'm starting to question my idea of self love. And I guess the reason I felt that I was okay is in regards to self love is because generally I believe myself capable of any feat. I usually like what I see in the mirror. And if I don't like it, I've worked to change it. But that isn't the fullness of what self-love is. That's not all there is to it.
Mm-hmm.
Self-love can also be
Mm-hmm.
seen in how you allow others to treat you and
Mm.
what you allow to happen to you and what you make okay in your head as far as treatment from others. Self-love is to have a healthy sense of boundaries. So I can feel
Yes.
beautiful, I can feel accomplished and all that jazz, but at some base level, I hadn't felt worthy enough to say no. I haven't felt in some ways that the love people had for me, or I did feel in some ways that the love people had for me was attached to my yes, was attached to me
Mm.
being ready to give them something, being ready to say, I'm here for you. It's very similar to what you were saying. Like, I'm not a
Mm.
general public people pleaser, but for the people that I love, for the people that have come into my life and then I care about, my yes is far, 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 far stronger than my no. And that has led to a complete breakdown of who I am and what I'm able to give. So,
Okay.
and that is not self love. Self love is not allowing your spirit to be diminished. It's protecting yourself at all cost. If that means you stand alone, then stand strong with the knowledge that you have taken the task of caring for yourself. We are only here on this planet for a short amount of time. And I believe the human experience is about love and not just outwardly, but to love ourselves fully, we can then show the greatest love to others. And I feel like that is the journey that we're all on. And that's the journey I'm definitely on, figuring out what is love for me.
Mm.
What is love for others from me? And I believe those are all the things that will encompass a full, healthy sense of self love. It's not just saying, oh, I look pretty or I like my body or, all these things. It's what are you ingesting into your body? That's something that I'm
Mm.
really taking in right now. What do I put into my body to show my body I love you? And I'm going to give you the
Right.
best things that I can give you so that you can thrive. I know this body is weak. All mankind, we're weaklings. We get about 30, that shit start breaking down. But if I can do, it really does. If I can do everything in my power to build it up, to keep it strong, to keep it healthy, why not do that? And so that's my focus, my insides. You know what I mean? Outwardly, of course, you want to be beautiful and things of that nature, but that's not all self love is. Self love, like I said at the beginning, it's all encompassing. It's your mind,
Mm-hmm.
it's your meditation, it's your body, it's working out, it's your spirit. And that's just having these conversations where you do self critique and say, okay, I don't quite like how that appears on me. Let me fix that. Let me change that. And in the end, that's the impact I think it's having on my life.
Right. You brought up a really good point when you were talking about like watching what you take in,
Yes.
what you put into your body. And, that made me just think, because yeah, it's definitely like the food you eat, and being aware of how your body reacts to certain things. But it's also like something that it's also like what you watch, what you
Right.
hear,
That's
like
so
who
true.
you're around, the energy
Hmm.
you allow around you. And I've, realized recently just how much that plays a part in just like how you feel overall.
Yep.
So I've taken steps to kind of limit my social media. If anything's too negative, I kind of stay away from it.
Yeah.
And I try to be mindful of what I listen to. I try to be mindful of my time. I try to be mindful of, not watching TV so
Hmm.
much, like
Hmm.
making sure that I'm keeping myself well rounded, that like, I'm reading, that I'm moving, that I'm just not just like doing the same old, that I'm expanding and stretching myself.
Right.
And I just think that was just like such a great point that you brought up, that it's
Yeah.
really, and that just ties back to the whole parenting thing.
Hmm. That's so
You know, I
true.
we have a tendency to take care of others better than we take care of ourselves.
Hmm.
So I guess if you could kind of view yourself as just like your own little baby or something, like,
Hmm.
well, your
Hmm.
inner child. I'm doing this whole inner child workshop. So let me not act like this is just coming from the heavens and shit.
Right.
But like this inner child work has definitely like made me realize it, because it literally puts me in my own hands.
Yeah.
and says, okay, you need to clear up some stuff that happened as a child and that's like wreaking havoc in your life now.
Yeah.
And I feel like I spoke about this last time, but whatever. Um, but it forces you to make sure that you're the parent that you wish you had.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's important.
And yeah, yeah, it's important. And I don't know what else I was gonna say.
It's okay.
So
I'm
I'm just
sorry.
gonna.
Was that me? Was that me? Because I interrupted.
No, I think it's me. It's just 30.
Ah, okay.
I
But
need to start doing some crossword puzzles or some shit.
get you some ginkgo biloba. Um,
Yeah, is that how you say that shit?
yeah, that is how you say it.
Oh, you're
But
talented.
thank you. I try. But no, I mean, that's absolutely right. The intake thing, what you were saying, people look at me funny because I watch a lot of animated films and I listen to a lot of, light things. I don't ingest a lot of negativity. And
Right.
that's just to say, not to say that it's anything wrong. Like I don't take in a lot of violent movies. I don't take in a lot of scary movies. And that's not to say that there's anything wrong with those things, but it's just I know where my psyche is and I need my vibrations to be higher because I'm at a struggling place right now. And that's another thing about self-love, just recognizing where you are. Spiritually,
Mm-hmm.
I don't need that ingested.
Mm-hmm.
I need
Right.
lighter things so that I can start to manifest those things in myself and not manifest
Right.
negativity because I'm already,
Right.
feeling low in my vibrations. So I try to ingest higher vibrations and things like that. So you're absolutely right. It's about all of those things. It's about all of those things and just I think it's just like you said, parenting yourself and but sweetly, a kind parent, the kind of parent they write in movies, you know, where it's just very loving and very willing to listen and very kind and very pleasant. And the goal of that parent is to make you your best self, you know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
In a way, like it's like I feel like it's even a fun exercise if you think about it, because you can think of the person that you admire the most, right?
Yeah.
Or that super parent you wish you had, and now
Mm-hmm.
you have the opportunity to become that.
That's true. That's really deep.
So yeah. So like if you don't know like, who you want to be or where you want to go, like there's a marker, like strive for that person who's going to take care of you, that person
Right.
who's going to make your life better.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like, so what is the way that we cope with this? Like, how do you cope with recognizing what self-love is and maybe recognizing, that it's not up to par or maybe it is for you. Like, so how do you cope with that and how do you address it?
Oh gosh. um like I said before, like just clearing up shit within me.
Mhm.
Fix the things that are inside that I'm running from.
Mhm.
Um, because like I said, I'm the only person who can give me what I'm looking for. And it's
Yeah.
unfair to ask it from others. Not that I did that, but still, like, you know what? It's not even that I didn't ask it. I just never told them. Like, so I would have
Yeah.
this expectation secretly, and then, they wouldn't live up to that because they
Yeah.
they don't know
They
that I'm
didn't
crazy
know.
on the inside. Yeah. And then I'd just be so disappointed after like years of dedicating my life to this person, and they're just kind of
Yeah.
like,
I didn't
"What?
know. Right,
I didn't
right.
know. I didn't like, yeah."
Yeah.
Um, and then I'm realizing that magically, like becoming someone else is not gonna fix things. I have to work with me, and I have to love me,
Mhm.
and I have to do the work. Everyone is doing the work. Well, not everyone. Well, most people. Some people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get it.
I get it.
And I can't just hijack someone else's work.
Yeah.
It's like there's no escaping this. This is your hand. Play it. It's a winning hand if you want it to
Yes.
be.
Okay. You better preach.
Right.
Yes.
But if you want to sit over and talk about I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna lose, I'm gonna lose, okay, you lost.
You
That's what you
lost.
wanted.
Yeah.
You know? Um I feel like I need to find an appreciation for discomfort.
Oh.
And to me, that discomfort is that no,
Mhm.
that's good for me.
Yeah.
Saying no to something because I really shouldn't be doing that. You
Yeah.
know, and realizing that it's not always bad. Like, yeah, it's painful, but it is a measure, that something is wrong. It needs to be fixed. It needs to be addressed, and I always used to run from my discomfort right into
Yeah,
the arms of Oreos, double cheeseburgers, Jordans, TV.
I feel you.
And I'm not saying I don't do that now, because I definitely still do that.
Hmm.
I got shoes on the way, should be here today. Uh, but just being aware of that,
Hmm.
and then seeing where that comes from, and is it really, do you really really like that shoe? Like, is it really, oh, this is a different colorway even though you have several different colorways of the same shoe?
Yeah,
Like, is that really what you're craving, or is there like a comfort because you feel uncomfortable about something? And I've been
yeah.
noticing that. I've been tracking myself. Whenever I get overwhelmed, I'll start looking at shoes.
Okay.
Whenever I don't want to deal with something, I'm in the fridge.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm like, I just need to relax, I turn on the TV.
Hmm.
And it's just,
Hmm.
they're just distractions. It's like,
Yes.
oh, you're frustrated about something, so you want to numb yourself.
Hmm.
Um, and so I feel like that awareness, that acknowledgement, that acceptance, and then working on my issues, clearing up negativity, I feel like it will reflect outwardly.
Yeah.
Um, because I told myself, by the end of 2020, like, I want to see like a different person. Not like I completely abandoned myself, but I want to see a better version of me. I want to see
Yeah.
what I can do. I want to challenge myself, like, okay, now that you know that you need to be your own parent, let's see how we parent.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
know, let's see how we do this. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, but you need to start making these hard choices and hard decisions, because you've been waiting for people to come make them for you, and it hasn't happened. And it's just gotten harder and harder.
Right.
So I think as I clear things on the inside, you'll see it vividly, clearly on the outside.
Yeah.
So then when I do retreat in myself, it can be a safe space and not a house of horrors.
Oh man.
Right.
Yeah.
And then yeah, just staying in the present, like
Hmm.
not being like 50 steps ahead.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm focusing on. For me, that is the impact of self-love and being aware of self-love and how it's needed and how I can use it, and how it's created issues, that lack of self-love, how it's created issues in my life. And how now that I'm on this journey seeking self-love, honoring self, loving myself, how I feel like that's gonna put me on a different trajectory, because I'm going for the life that I want. Because like you said, we have limited time here,
Hmm.
and the only thing that's a given is death.
Okay.
So I kind of want to be ready for when it comes. I don't want to be like, dang, death's knocking on my door. Wait a minute, I really should have done X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
So what about you? How this whole discussion, like, how do you plan on coping with it, addressing with it, dealing with it, the whole
Yeah.
nine?
The whole nine. I think my favorite word this year seems to be acknowledgement. And I'm going to say it again here and now. I have to acknowledge it. I have to call it out and say, why did you allow so many things to happen to you that you would never have stood for happening with a loved one, with a friend, with anybody who came to me for advice? And after I faced the shock, because I be shocked by shit, like, damn, that was me? Yeah, nigga, that was you. Then I have to deal with it. I slowly say no when it's uncomfortable and when I know it'll be damaging to me in the long run. And hell, even in the
Mm,
short run. I just have to
mm,
take each day and learn what putting me first looks like. I've been fearful that I would end up selfish, but I know that with a pure heart and a clear mind, I'm going to end up closer to where I want to be able to take care of those I love, because I have first been taken care of and I am well enough to give of myself. I heard someone say, and this is so true, you cannot pour from an empty cup.
mm. I was just thinking that.
You
Yes,
know?
give them those drippings, sis. The
Yes.
drippings from the
The
little saucer.
overflow,
You can't
sis.
sip
And
from
that's,
my cup
you cannot. And that's the thing
because
I'm
I'm thirsty.
recognizing. I'm recognizing and I'm learning and I'm valuing that I am allowed excess. I am allowed overflow. I am allowed the things that I want to give to others. I'm allowed that. And I'm allowed that from myself. And like you, I don't have to seek it from others. I am
Right.
capable of loving myself fully. I am capable of giving myself my hopes and my dreams and my desires and my passions. I am capable of that. And I am worthy of that. And so I cope by just sitting in it and allowing it. And when those tough moments come up, because I have people ask me for shit all the time because I've been that person. And saying no has been the hardest thing in my life these last couple
Mm,
years. And
mm,
I've said no in the last year, and it was a shock to my system at first. And my body was getting in preparation mode to do this thing. And it's not even like a small thing. I was asked to move somewhere. And I was gonna do it. I was gonna do it because I see the need and I want to be helpful. But I
mm,
also recognize the damage that I've done to myself by putting everyone else first and
mhm.
allowing myself to be last or the least of my concerns. And I will no longer do that. I cope by putting me first always, because I know by putting me first, the people that I love will also be benefited by that. By me being my fullest self, the people that I love will experience that as well. And that's how I address it.
Yeah. Like I just had this like whole like visual pop in my head when you're talking. It's literally
Uh,
like it's the dead of winter, right? And
yes.
you have a coat and you're someone comes up to you and it's like, "Oh, I'm cold and I'm shivering."
Yeah.
And because you're warm right now, you give them your coat.
Right.
And then they walk off there living their best warm life and then you have to turn around and beg somebody for a coat
Right. When
because
you
now
just
you're
had
cold
one.
when you
Right.
just had one. Like that's what like self-love or lack of self-love is. It's like when you're constantly like projecting outwards and you're
Hmm.
giving what you don't even fully have, it,
Right.
it turns you into a beggar.
It does.
And
Asking for
then
love.
right, and we can't even share the coat. No, it's not
Right.
like, oh, I 20 minutes on for me, 20 minutes off. No, it's like the best I can do is point out where I got my coat from.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
maybe I can sacrifice a scarf since
Or
my
maybe I
coat
can
is
walk
all like,
with you. I can
yeah,
walk
I
with
can
you
walk
to
with
help
you.
you find a coat. You
Or I
know?
can hold you while I'm wearing my coat. That shields
Yes.
you a little bit. But I'm not
Yes.
taking off my damn coat.
Right. Right. That's
But
that's real. That's real.
but that's what I was doing. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't think I realized how much I needed self-love. Even when I first like when we first came up with this topic, I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
Valentine's Day is coming up, and I'm gonna talk about all the people who be fake ordering flowers for themselves. Talk about it's from my husband or from my man or from my
Right.
my spouse, my wife, or whatever. And I'm like,
Right.
let them shits yourself. And it was kind of negative almost in a way that I brought it up, but now I'm realizing like, damn, I really need this shit.
Right. It's so important. It's so important. Like I said, it is our biggest tool if we allow it to be used for that. Or we can weaponize
Yes.
that thing and let everything be
Right.
detrimental. It's
Right.
really up to us.
Right.
It's up to us.
Right. I think I really like your view of self-love and
Yeah.
how it takes like this healing approach. Because
Hmm.
I don't think that I really thought of it that way before.
Hmm.
That it was just something like, okay, love of self is a way of healing myself. It's a way of me getting over things.
Yeah.
And it's like I feel like my approach to self-love in this conversation has really been like motivational. It's about, you know, kind of building something, getting where I want to be, which is fine too, because that's where I am in life. But just hearing your perspective about like the healing qualities of self love,
Yeah.
like the soothing qualities, you know, I think that was, I needed to hear that too. That was the piece that I was definitely missing.
Hmm. Hmm. I mean, and all those pieces are necessary. The motivational piece is necessary. That's a part of self-love,
Right,
but it's not
right,
only. That's not the only thing. So it's just,
right,
and self-love is going to look like what you need.
right.
So right now, if
So you
you
have to give
need
yourself,
motivation, that you need to focus on that. That's your self-love
right,
at this moment. It's going to look different. Sometimes self-love is allowing yourself to sit and wallow I've had so many of those days where I'm just like, you know what? You are worth sitting at home and figuring this thing out because you're X, Y, and Z emotion. Sometimes
Right.
self love is saying, get your ass up and go to work.
Right.
Sometimes,
Right.
sometimes self love is, I don't need to be around any friends. I need to take this moment
Right.
for myself. And sometimes it looks
Right.
like I need all the people around. Come tell me you love me. Come hug on me. Come give me some, encouraging words. It's going to look different for every person, but it's just taking the time out, taking the time necessary, and figuring out what it is for you at this moment.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So I hope that's what this conversation will help people do. Uh, is, get to know self,
Yeah.
define, like figure out who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because I like your breakdown, that's why I'm using it. Um, and then define what love is and what that looks like,
Yeah.
and jot down some ways in which you can show yourself love, you know, and especially for Valentine's Day, because I feel like, that's a sore spot for some people,
It
you
is.
know, people who have like that societal, that socially, there we go,
Mm-hmm.
socially acceptable, you know, love and Valentine's Day, and you kind of already, know what you're gonna do. But for
Yeah.
those who don't have that, like, just take the opportunity to love on yourself
Yeah.
and get to know yourself and say, okay, what do I like? I don't like flowers. They
Yeah.
die. Roses start to smell after a while.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's the point in buying me flowers? Like, what I really want to do is watch this movie or, make me my favorite meal or my favorite childhood meal, watch my favorite childhood cartoon. Just
Yeah.
something that shows appreciation for yourself, for you
Right.
being you.
Right.
And
Because
it's not about anyone else. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was just saying that's really important. I think if we could get to that place where that is, I mean, we don't have to co-opt Valentine's Day because I think it's beautiful to show romantic love or whatever. My mom used to get us, Valentine's stuff every year. I would look forward to her gifts that she gave us. So it's not only romantic love, it's all senses of
Right.
love. And this
Right.
can be our time. We don't have to take it from other people, but if you want to take the time and on Valentine's Day, like she said, run yourself a bubble bath. Put
Right.
what are they? Bath bomb in there. Put you some flower petals on the thing. Go in there and read your favorite book, and just take
Yes.
time to say, "Girl or boy, I don't know who listening. I love you.
Right.
I'm
Right.
grateful for you." There are some times I've been working out recently, and at the beginning it was tough because I hadn't been doing things, but every day. I'm not gonna say every day, but a lot of the days I would wake up and I would tell my body, "Thank you for being able to withstand what I'm putting you through."
Mm,
And
like that.
yeah, because I know that I haven't been the best to you, but I'm
Mm,
working on it. And that's what I
wow.
told myself. And I still tell myself that. Thank you for allowing me to treat you better. Thank you for allowing me to grow. Thank you for allowing me to change and give you what you need and give you what you want because I love you. I
Mm,
thank you for being able to be strong. I thank you for being able to withstand all the mistreatment. And I thank you by doing better now. And I
right.
think if you could take the time during Valentine's Day or any other time of the year, really
Yeah.
any time, all times are perfect times. But this is a time where, people do, like you said, feel
Right.
down about love and things like that. This is a perfect time to tell yourself, I love you.
Right.
And I'm going to do better by you. That doesn't mean you're great, you're perfect, you're wonderful. That's why I said, even in the direst of situations, you don't give up. That is love to me. And if you're
Right.
in your dire situation, even if you're at your peak, never give up on telling yourself, thank you for allowing
Right.
me this human experience because it didn't have to be a thing, you know?
Right. Right. Yeah, I bring up Valentine's Day because this is our episode.
Yeah.
And, I feel like this is applicable to everybody. Even if you do have like a boo or somebody at home,
Yes.
you know, you can still love on yourself and just make that even more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of people are in relationships, right? And they don't have that self-love. So
True.
they nitpick and they have so much doubt and anxiety because they don't even know if the love they're receiving is true.
Right.
So it could even look like, oh, this person's love, we don't have to worry about them. It's like, no, if you're having like, some feelings, some negative feelings, negative self-talk, around this time, and you do have somebody who's going out of their way to show their love for you, help them along, help yourself along too by, soothing yourself, practicing some self-love. And I feel like it can only make it better. Like, and not just for Valentine's Day, like you said, just period.
Right. I mean, and like you're saying though, especially if you're in a relationship. No, not especially. We all need this equally.
Even,
But
yeah.
even if you're in a relationship, it is important to have a healthy relationship with yourself because that's
Yes.
going to encourage and promote a healthy relationship with another person. Because you cannot, like Rena was saying at the beginning, love, we're mirrors. You
Mm-hmm.
cannot accept love from others if you don't accept it from yourself or if you don't
Right.
give it to yourself. It's very difficult. So it's important, relationship or not, to go on the journey of really recognizing how to love yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So I think we're coming down now. We're gonna slow
Yeah.
it down. And we're gonna move into a self-love practice that you are free to steal from us, which is our brief meditation and intention setting.
So this is generally my favorite part of the episode. I love this part because it gives us the opportunity to wind down and bring about an intention for our day, our month, and our year even. So I like to do a little bit of breathing. You guys can do that with us. We're going to take in one big deep breath. Let's take in another deep breath. And our last deep breath. So now we're going to go about setting our intention. My intention is to self love, is to practice self love, and to understand self love.
My intention is to do some real thoughtful analysis on when I say yes and no to things, and if that response actually serves me.
That's beautiful. Now we're going to take in another deep breath. Second deep breath. And our last deep breath, taking a big one. And now your intention has been set for the day. Go out there and flourish, sis. Today doesn't have to be a mess.
But it's okay if it is.
Show is, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in again. We hope that you will take this conversation and have it with your friends and your family and have it with yourself. How can you show
Yeah.
yourself self-love? And what are the practices that you feel are good practices? Share that with us on our social media. We can be found on at It's a Mess Sis at Gmail, at Twitter and Facebook, and It's a Mess Sis podcast on Instagram. We look forward to seeing you guys next time. Holla at us later.
Peace.
It's a mess.
Hey, that's all I can do.
It's
I
a
can't sing.
mess. It's okay. He's gonna talk over my singing though. Okay, it's ready now.